What up, cucks? It's your boy, the hater, up in this bitch. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted to do a video real quick about some of the little nuances of Monday Night Raw, right? Like, so, you know, a couple of things. First of all, like, you can tell if someone's cool or if someone's not cool just by looking at them, right? Like, it's not, I'm not saying it's the appearance, it's not the haircut, it's none of that. It's just, like, the way someone carries themselves, right? And the reality is that wrestling is now full of people that were never cool, right? A great example would be CM Punk. This is a guy that we all know, a CM Punk from high school, right? The guy that listened to like Lamb of God. And it's like, hey man, who do you like more? Like if they might have asked him in middle school. NSYNC or Backstreet Boys? NSYNC or Backstreet Boys? I only listen to like Amon Arath or whatever. Like, shut the fuck up, you know what I'm saying? Just pick one. You know what I'm saying? Stop being a fucking douchebag. Like, you're not better than people because your tastes are more refined. What do you like more, the guitar or the drums? Oh, I like the didgeridoo. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, honestly. You know what I mean? It's, again, like I've said, this is that elitist mentality. Oh, who do you think is the best player of all time? You think it's LeBron? You think it's Kobe? Or you think it's Michael Jordan? I think it's Bill Russell. Shut the fuck up. No, you don't. You're saying that because you don't want to be like the guy that said what everyone else said, man. That's what CM Punk is. We all know that guy. The only difference is that that guy that we know in high school was probably like an even bigger dork who never lifted a weight in his whole life. CM Punk has lifted a couple of weights here and there, right? But that's about it, right? That's the only thing that differentiates CM Punk from that guy. He's an elitist douchebag, right? CM Punk is the kind of guy that if you ask him, who's your favorite wrestler? He will unironically say, Mitsuharu Misawa or some bullshit. Shut the fuck up. Like, these people infuriate me, right? Now, the reason why I want to bring this up is because you can tell that in wrestling, there's some people that are cool, right? You can also figure this out by where they're from, right? So, for example, I'll give you a great example. Liv Morgan. She's obviously a cool chick, right? First of all, she's from Jersey. Jersey in the house, motherfucks. You know what I'm saying? She's from Jersey, so she can't be that bad. Number one. Two, she's a good-looking girl. So, obviously, she's had to be cool because she's probably had to turn down a lot of dorks, right? Now, this was something that resonated really quick with me because there was a promo on Raw where, like, after the beatdown of Damian Priest, we had the Judgment Day in the back, right? And it's just basically 4 dorks and a hot girl, right? Like, it's like you could tell. There's a part where they all did their thing where, like, JD's like, the Judgment Day has cost you the title. And then Finn Balor, he's like, yeah, we're gonna win. And then Dominic is just, he's a dork. He's a spoiled rich kid. You know what I'm saying? He's a dork. He's a dork, man. I like Dominic a lot, but he's a dork. And then Carlito comes out and he's like, hey, that's cool, right? Like Carlito, like, I don't even know what the fuck happened. He fooled people for a while about being a cool guy, but he's a fucking dork. And they all start laughing. And then Liv Morgan, you can tell, right? Like, if you've been around people like Liv Morgan, if I'm reading her the way I think she is, and I think I'm right, you could tell that in her mind, for a split second, she fucking thought to herself, all these fucking guys are losers, right? And there needs to be some form of reality, right? Someone like Liv Morgan is not hanging out with these dorks in high school, right? These are the fucking weird kids that go, like, during lunch, they go and they sit with their favorite teacher and they talk about astrophysics, right? These are boring nerds, right? And Liv Morgan is now, like, forced to be around these guys, right? And it's just so inorganic, right? That's why Rhea Ripley was a much better fit because you can tell she's like a rebellious type chick, but she's also a dork. She's the kind of girl that would hang out with CM Punk, you know what I mean? Like, she's like, she was never the cool girl, you know what I mean? She wasn't like the it girl, and these guys weren't the it guys, right? And that's the problem, right? We don't have enough of these cool people. Like, you know for a fact, ain't no doubt about it, that The Rock was the cool guy in high school. That Triple H was the cool guy in high school. That fucking Edge, Christian, Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy, all these guys were the cool guys. That Stone Cold was the cool guy in his high school, right? For a fact, there's no doubt about it. You know what I mean? Even if you go down the mid-card, like, everybody was just cooler, right? So, like, it's not strange, for example, for Trish Stratus to be attracted to Christian or to Jericho or to Jeff Hardy or to The Rock, right? I think these are all guys that she, like, made out with, right? So it's like, you're like, oh, okay, it fits, right? But the whole idea of Liv Morgan and Dominic is predicated upon the idea that it doesn't fit, right? Because it doesn't fit, because they're all dorks, right? The Judgment Day are all dorks, motherfucks. And that's fine. Some people are dorks. And we see a lot of these. Dorks come in many shapes and sizes. I'm using the word dork here as shorthand. But we're talking about all your geeks, you're nerds. There's a lot of other words that I can't say that are just like words that belittle people based on like, you know, their tastes and desires. Now, normally this isn't cool, you know what I mean? Let people be. I'm not saying go make fun of them, but I'm saying that these delineations happen, right? We see this kind of stuff all the time. You know, we saw it in Hollywood. I'll give you a great example. We saw it in Hollywood, right? We saw how like the standards got deteriorated. You know, I don't like George Clooney, but I can recognize that he was always a cool dude, right? And there's a movie called Ocean's 11, where it's basically George Clooney and 10 other cool guys, right, performing a heist. Now, there's something believable about them, right? Like Brad Pitt is a cool dude. You can't deny, Don Cheadle is a cool dude. You cannot deny these things, right? Robert Downey Jr. is another one. He's a cool dude, right? Ben Stiller is a cool dude. You can just tell. Not anymore. Ben Stiller now is a dork, but he was definitely cool, right? Then you compare that to like, you know, Fast and Furious, let's say, right? A huge step down. It's like these guys aren't cool dudes. Some of them are, like no doubt about it. Like Paul Walker, rest in peace, he's a cool guy. Like that Jordana Brewster girl, she's a cool chick. You can tell these are like people that were cool in high school. But then you got like these dorks. You got like Tego Calderon and fucking the Asian guy and Vin Diesel himself. You know, zero charisma, zero coolness, right? And they're being presented as like the cool kids. Oh, Ludacris. Ludacris is a fucking dork. You know what I'm saying? Ludacris was never the cool guy. Ludacris was the butt of every joke probably growing up, you know what I mean? So you got these people, and that's like a step down, but whatever, it is what it is. Then, when we started seeing all those Judd Apatow movies, that's where shit hit the fan, you know? No, motherfucks. Hold on a second. I gotta put hold on this motherfucker, right? Let's take a look at like the way that shit went down. You got like Jonah Hill, this guy's a fucking loser. You know, you got Seth Rogen. This guy's just a piece of shit. Like, I fucking hate him. He's boring. He's not funny. He's fucking weird. You know what I mean? This guy's like the guy that like everyone made fun of in high school. And this guy now is like presented as this like funny guy. No, motherfucks. And the best example I can give is the show Friends, right? The show Friends, hey, you can hate it, you can love it. But those are cool people. Like, I guarantee you that everyone in Friends was like a cool person in high school. And I know what some of you were thinking. Why is Hater so obsessed with high school? That's just a proxy, motherfucks. I'm talking about high school because that's before you can try to reinvent yourself. That's where you're at your rawest, right? These people continue to be cool. Now compare them to the ripoff show of like How I Met Your Mother, right? Now the hater hasn't watched How I Met Your Mother, but I can just turn on an episode and everyone there's a fucking dork, right? You got like, what's his name? The guy who plays Barney, Neil Patrick Harris. That guy's a fucking, he's a twat. You know what I'm saying? Like, this guy's like, shut the fuck up. Like, if this guy was sitting down with like me and like 5 other me's and he spoke out of turn, I'd be like, shut your fucking mouth. And he'd be quiet in a second, right? There's different types of people out there. And we used to push the cool and now we don't push the cool anymore, right? A lot of things are no longer believable. Like, you know, it's believable, for example, that the guy who played Chandler, rest in peace, that like he would try to go after Julia Roberts in that one episode of Friends. Because the actual actor dated Julia Roberts. He's a good-looking guy. You know what I mean? It's not believable that Seth Rogen is going to get Katherine Heigl. That's never going to happen, motherfucks. Because it's not just the fact that he's like this chubby, amoeba-like douchebag, right? But it's also like because there are guys like that can pull way better women than Katherine Heigl. Don't get me wrong. No, the hater's not saying it's all about appearance. But it's like you have to have one thing going for you, right? They're not, like, you have Seth Rogen, he's got nothing going for him. And then you have Seth Rollins on Raw, same shit. This guy's a fucking dork, you know? And it's no surprise that his wife's a dork. And they come out dressed like they're fucking, like they're fucking morons from the future. You know what I mean? Like, not just people from the future, they look like morons from the future. And you got these bunch of douchebags. Like, and that's why once in a while, you know, you'll get like I'll give you a good example, you know? You'll get like a Carmelo Hayes. He's a fucking dork. He tries to be like the cool guy, but he's a fucking loser. This guy in high school was like, shut the fuck up. Nobody wants to talk to you, Carmelo. But like Trick Williams, for example, you could tell he was a cool guy. Now, some cool people just aren't charismatic, but he was a cool guy. Braun Breaker was a cool guy. Cena was a cool guy. Orton was a cool guy. Kevin Owens was the fat guy that played magic cards at like the last table in the cafeteria. You know what I mean? And then that guy went to the gym literally 3 times, and he's like, oh, I'm a wrestler. I can kick ass. No, you can't. No, you can't. So that's what I'm getting at, right? You see these things happening in wrestling. And I hope that this video provided some examples of what I actually mean. because it's sometimes hard to like recognize this, but it's there, motherfuckers. It's there. You can tell. You can tell, for example, like I'll give you a great example. Like, you know, the gimmick of the beautiful people, right? This is a gimmick that, in my opinion, is one of the best gimmicks of all time. The beautiful people, basically these two mean girls, right, who are like super hot, right? Now, the hater never thought that Angelina Love was attractive. I actually saw her in a live event a few months ago. She looked pretty good because she's like almost 50 now, but I never thought she was this like super hot. Also, she's really short. You know, because like you see her on TV and she's like taller than all the other girls, but she was really short. It was really weird. But anyways, the gimmick worked, and it worked primarily because you could tell that Angelina Love, whether the hater likes her or not, was the hot girl in high school. And same thing with Velvet Sky. Then you do this with Michelle McCool and Layla, who are obviously attractive women, but they weren't the cool girl in high school. That's why it didn't work. It didn't work as well. It's the same gimmick, right? And now they're doing it kind of with like Alba Fire and the other one, and they're not the cool girls. It worked a little bit with the Iconics because they were the cool girls in high school probably, but they also were the cool girls in high school in Australia. So, you know, who the fuck knows what happens there, yeah, I'm saying. But you kind of get what I'm saying here, motherfuckers. There's people out there that just are the cool people. Like, if you saw them at a party, you'd be like, oh, that guy was cool. You would remember them. The hater, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but when my wife and I go to parties, right? Like, because I'm at that stage of life now where, like, you know, like we go to like, let's go to these people's houses for Easter, you know, which is fine. I enjoy it, right? But the hater has always been young in soul, right? So I'm only 36. And I go there and I have fun. I like to have fun. And everybody, like all the time, my wife's like, oh, these people invite us to their party because they really liked you or they really liked us. But you know what I mean? Like they'll be like, oh, this person really liked you, right? There's so many times that I've had that happen with my wife and also with my friends, right? Now, I've never said that about anybody because I don't really meet cool people in these you know, scenarios. Some of them are cool, of course, but I never like meet like a friend of a friend and I'm like, this person's cool, right? And when it happens, you best believe that person was cool, right? And the reason I say this is because if you didn't know who the fuck Seth Rollins was and you saw him at an Easter party, you'd be like, man, that guy was fucking annoying. But if you met Randy Orton at this party, you'd be like, man, that was a cool motherfucker. Like, and that's Randy Orton. Like, forget about if you met like Batista or, you know, Stone Cold, you know what I mean? Or Ric Flair. Like, if you met Ric Flair, you would never, like, if you met Ric Flair and you didn't know who Ric Flair was, you would never forget that guy for the rest of your life. You know what I'm saying? And that's what being cool is. And with that being said, motherfucks, take care of yourselves.